Hey guys, Andrew Deitsch, Creative Director here at 4Media, and today I'm going to be going over all the information that I make sure I get from my clients before shooting a content package for them. Before shooting content for a client, typically they have a lot of ideas in their head, and it's hard for us to know exactly what they're envisioning. So here are all the questions that I ask my clients before I do a content shoot. So the first most important thing to get nailed down is, what are the deliverables? What are the final things that the client is expecting you to deliver? Granted, a lot of times we over deliver. It's nice. You give them a little bit more than what they paid for and it feels great. The client's always super happy, but the biggest thing is to define success. And so what that means is you need to figure out the exact amount of deliverables that the client is expecting you to give. That also means ideal delivery time. So they need to have an expectation of how quickly this is going to get turned around. The next thing to worry about is, what are their goals? Sometimes clients just want stuff that looks really cool that they can fill up their Instagram feed, while other times they're looking for conversion-based ads. You need to nail that down before you start working on the content, because you might have something that looks really pretty, but it's not necessarily designed to get the customer to pull out their credit card and buy. So you need to figure out what the client's goals are so you can be aligned. Most of the time here at 4Media, our clients are looking for conversion-focused content. The next step is figuring out what products we're going to focus on. Some brands have hundreds of products and some brands only have one product. So it's very important to figure out which products you want to focus on, what their best sellers are, and if you're making multiple pieces of content, which products they want to focus the most on. Is it a 50-50 split, or should we focus on all products equally? The next thing you want to ask them is about their competitors and inspo. Now, these are very similar, but they're also different. Competitors are typically people in their space that are selling similar products, but maybe they don't necessarily like their content style. Inspo is what I would consider brands that they like and they enjoy their content, but maybe they're not exactly in their space. Maybe they're selling a different product or they're in a different niche, but they really like their content. Knowing these two things are very, very important, because typically the inspo will inform how it needs to look, and the competitors give you an idea of what other people in the space are doing and how you can differentiate yourselves. The next one is key phrases or keywords that seem to perform well. Again, if you're working on conversion-focused content, typically they have an idea of some of the best performing keywords that they've used in the past, so that you can make sure you include those in your content. You're also going to want to ask them how they want to end their videos. Do they want their logo at the end? Do they want a call to action at the end? How do they want that to look? So a lot of times we're really focused on the main part of the content, but how you finish the content is just as important, because at the end of the day, if it's conversion focused, you want the customer to view that video and do something. So figure out what your call to action at the end of the video needs to be. The next step is figuring out what types of videos or content you want to focus on. If it's videos, is it going to be more focused on a broader audience, kind of top of funnel type stuff? Is it going to be UGC, homegrown feeling, or is it, graphics and photos? Figuring out what type of content, obviously that's part of deliverables, but more than just the amount of deliverables, you need to figure out what types of videos and content they're looking for. The next step is models, figuring out who needs to be on camera and what demographics you're looking for. Are they older? Are they younger? What type of skin complexion? What type of demographic are they looking for? And sometimes the target audience is slightly different than the models that you're actually going to be choosing, because sometimes the model is going to be the aspirational view of what the customer wants to be like. Maybe if it's like an anti-aging product, the customer might be a little bit older, but the models might be a little bit younger. That's something to keep in mind. The next step is gathering all the assets that you need from the client. Typically, they're going to have some kind of folder with all their brand guidelines and things like that, but just make sure that you have all of that before you start working. The worst thing is when you're already down the rabbit hole of editing a bunch of videos and then you realize you don't even have the proper brand logo. Another thing that I always try to ask clients up front is just to make sure that whatever work we create is okay to use in our portfolio and post publicly on our Instagram pages and things like that. Some clients are a little bit secretive about what agencies they work with and things like that. So just make sure you get that out of the way up front before it becomes an awkward situation later. And the last thing is to establish what the next steps are after this call. So figure out what your team needs to do and what they're waiting on you guys to finish, and also lay out exactly what the client needs to do, what they need to send you, what you're waiting on, things like that, and give them an expected timeline of when those things are going to happen. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe to 4Media for more videos, and we'll see you in the next one.